Hey, and welcome to my first video on this channel. Today I'd like to review Shadow of the Colossus, a title many consider to be one of the greatest games of all time. All of the footage you'll see was captured from the PS4 version. I think it's the best one overall, but don't shy away from either the original or the PS3 version either. Also, I'm planning to keep my videos as spoiler-free as possible, but I will have to dig at least a little into the story, so consider this your final spoiler warning. Also, English isn't my native language, so forgive me if some of my pronunciations are not quite on point. Thanks. We don't know much about what's actually going on. Wonder, our character, and his loyal horse Agro seemingly took a long and dangerous journey upon themselves to bring a deceased girl that apparently was sacrificed because her, quote, fate was cursed, to this forbidden and sealed away land, in belief here lies an ancient power that is capable of bringing her back to life. We don't know whether this girl is his sister or girlfriend or whatever, which I personally find quite nice, as it allows us to build up our own theories and assumptions. Arriving at the peaceful looking shrine, Wanderer gets greeted by a dark and mysterious voice of a being that calls itself Dormin. Dormin tells us that it is indeed capable of bringing back the souls of the dead, but in order for this to happen, Wanderer first must slay 16 colossi scattered across this land. And that's where our journey begins. The story is far from groundbreaking and actually barely progresses as we keep playing. Apart from one or two cutscenes in between our adventure, there's only the intro sequence and the ending, which I'm not going to spoil here. When it comes to the gameplay, Shadow of the Colossus keeps it rather simple, but in a good way. It is a prime example of how sometimes less is more. There are no quests available, no entire cities filled with dozens of NPCs and endless dialogues. It is just this gorgeous immersive world and us, traveling upon this ancient land, equipped with nothing but a mere sword and bow. Using said sword we are able to locate the 16 bosses. By holding it up into the air, it guides us to the colossi we shall slay next. I personally would have preferred it if we had to find them by simply searching for them, or by using Dormin's initial riddle as a guideline, but hey, you're not forced to use the sword as a roadmap. With all that being said, some of them are actually very well hidden away and can take quite some time to find in the first playthrough. Fighting all the different colossi is where the game shines the most in my opinion, as they all have vastly different mechanics when you battle them. Would be kinda dumb if it wasn't though, seeing as the game pretty much consists of only boss fights. While Colossi number 1 is pretty much straightforward and the perfect tutorial boss to get you comfortable with the admittedly clunky controls and mechanics, every Colossi onwards has a different way of climbing and defeating them. Some of them have even more than just one way. Colossi number 3, Gaius for example, requires the player to bait a certain attack while standing on an iron platform. Once successfully done, Gaius' armor will crumble and fall apart, allowing us to climb up his sword and arm, which was previously blocked. We could also try another way though. While standing on its sword, we can wait for a certain animation that allows us to gain a huge boost of momentum when jumping at just the right moment, allowing us to land right on top of its bracelet we could break using the first method. This allows us to slay the boss a lot faster, which can and will come very helpful if you are going for the hard time attacks for example, which are pretty much just challenges in which you have to slay the colossi under specific time limits. Props to all of us that managed to beat his ass on hard time attack on the PS3. We indeed are worthy of the platinum. Colossi number 4, for example, requires us to play a little bit of hide and seek and be patient, as we hide in an underground cave. Once Phaedra gets curious and checks whether we disappeared or not, we sneak around the back and climb up its butt. But we could also wait till he bends over right on top of us and climb its earrings though, allowing us to get to one of its weak spots a lot faster. Phaedra is one of the most peaceful Colossi, but there's also Colossi number 14, Zenobia for example. He's one mean mofo and chases us as soon as he gets the chance to. We have to jump around from platform to platform, from pillar to pillar, to evade his attacks and finally reveal his weak spot. Phalanx, Colossi number 13, requires us to ride on top of Agro and jump to one of its massive wings, forcing us to engage in an epic mid-air battle once again. Anyway, my point is, there are a lot of different mechanics on how to climb or defeat each Colossi, and that's awesome. But apart from the boss fights, the game really hasn't that much to offer gameplay wise. There are some lizards and fruits scattered across the world you can farm to increase your HP and stamina bars, but since you also gain both of those after each defeated Colossi, it's really not necessary to do so. Unless of course you're a little bit of a trophy whore like me and then brace yourself for quite a lengthy grind. But as I said earlier, the game doesn't need to be filled with tons of other unnecessary stuff just for the sake of it. It focuses on the boss fights, and boy oh boy, does it deliver. I'm gonna be honest, the overall setting and atmosphere can really make or break a game for me. I could play a pretty shitty game with an amazing atmosphere and still somewhat enjoy it, and I could play an amazing game with an atmosphere or style that just doesn't speak to me and be left vastly unimpressed. Shadow of the Colossus' calm moments before the storm, when you just ride your horse through the plains of this beautiful world. Let you relax, switch off, and enjoy and appreciate the simple things in between your action-packed boss fights. I'm always a big fan of diversity when it comes to levels and worlds, and we get just that. There's woods, a desert, cliff sides, water areas, and more. The stunning visuals get accompanied by a uniquely beautiful and unique soundtrack. Just like in Dark Souls for example, our ears get greeted by music mostly when fighting bosses, while the rest of the game is pretty much just ambient nature sounds and the like. That's nice though, and as I said, in my opinion makes a great balance between chill and calm moments and epic dramatic fighting scenes. Even though I don't care too much about graphics and stuff, I'm not gonna lie, the first time I started up this remake, I was sitting there blown away just mumbling, wow. One of my favorite scenes is the altar surrounded by all the seagulls dipped into a celestial light. Since I'm only a filthy console peasant, what felt like 30-ish frames per second had to be sufficient, and they definitely were. I think the game runs with 60 FPS on the PS4 Pro, but the 30 really made it so cinematic, I absolutely loved it. The frame rate was always consistent and I never experienced any drops or the like either. Another thing that looked absolutely amazing was the fur of all the different Colossi. The flora, cliffs, water, you name it, all looked stunning as well. I definitely rank this up there with the best looking console games. Well, I couldn't help it. I had to start with a banger and one of my favorite games of all time. An amazing 95 out of 100 points for Shadow of the Colossus. Is there a game out there that can top this? It was pretty hard to cut the video down to around 10 to 15 minutes. I hope I somewhat covered the most important aspects of it and don't look like a total noob now. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you made it all the way to the end, thanks for watching. Hope to see you next time.